Hello tankers, this is NK33 with the second episode of Noob so you don't have to. In this episode we're going to go over three things that most people who have some experience in tanks know automatically, but I figured I'd cover them here so you'd understand. There are basically three types of, I'm going to call them currencies, for lack of a better word, in World of Tanks. The first is gold. Gold is a type that you win in tournaments or that you can buy at the gift shop. Second is credits or silver. Those you win by playing games. You know, the standard tank games, you'll be awarded a certain number of credits. The third is experience. And you get experience from winning and losing battles. The interesting thing about experience is when you participate in a battle, half of the experience goes to the tank, half of the experience goes to the crew, and 5% goes to this which is called free experience, which can be spent on any tank. The experience which goes to the tank stays with the tank unless you elite it. Now that gets into our discussion. What is eliting a tank? Basically, eliting a tank is having researched all of the modules of a tank, all of the guns, the turret, all the radios, all the engines, etc. And then researching the next tank in line. Now, I happen to have a fair amount of free experience, so let's go up to the tech tree, and let's start with one of the cheaper tanks, one of the new French ones, the FCM. Now, if I want to research this, I would have to have 50 experience left on the FP. Well, I don't, but I have 5,500 free experience, so I can spend that. So you click on this, note the little star, that means experience, right there. Do I want to include the free experience? Now be careful with the free experience. As I said, you only get 5% of it for every battle. So for every 100 points that you get on the screen, you only get 5 free experience. So unless you're careful, this can go away very quickly. Normally you wouldn't spend it on a tank, but in this case I've got no choice. And 50 isn't that much, so yes. Okay, now you notice this is now turned to 3,900, and the little stack of coins is credits. That's if I want to buy it. You don't have to buy it if you don't want to. If you're just going on ahead, you don't have to worry about it. Now in this case, though, I do want to buy it. I happen to like the French light line. Now you'll also notice some of the things don't have anything on them. Some of them do. Now the ones that do are basically indicators that you have to research that. That is, you have to spend the experience to get access to that part. So I'm going to spend 90. Yes. 95. Yes. 90. Yes. And then I'm going to spend 110. Yes, and 115. Now, when you've bought all of the pieces, that's where you get this, what's called elite status. Click OK. Now, let's look at this in the garage. It's not there. That's because I didn't buy it. That's the other thing that you have to do. Just because I've researched all of this, that doesn't mean that I've got it in my garage. You have to buy it. Now, the first thing that'll happen is it'll give you this screen, which will ask you how do you want to train your crew. Now if you don't have that many credits, you're going to be stuck with 50% crew. I'll show you in a little bit why 50% crew is going to be detrimental to your tank. Now in this case I'm just going to purchase it without a crew. You can also purchase a garage slot, and standard ammunition. Well, I don't want either one of those, so I'm just going to buy it. Now, you'll notice these check marks. That indicates what I've got mounted on the tank, which means I've researched the whole tank, but this is what I've got mounted. Now, I want to mount the best radio, and so purchase, yes. I want to mount the best engine, so yes. Now, in this case it didn't happen, but sometimes you will have to upgrade the suspension because of the load limit before you can upload the tank. Let's look at the vehicle details. In this particular case, I've got a weight of 12.36 tons and a load limit on that suspension of 12.8. Now, stock engine is 200 kilograms and the standard engine is 200 kilograms. So it doesn't change the weight. The stock signal flags were 1 kilogram and the stock radio was 15 kilograms, so that didn't push it over the limit. If you can buy something but can't mount it, what it will often give you is it'll show the credits for in red. Now if you can't research it, then it'll show the box in red, but there'll be a star here with the number of experience points you need. Now you'll notice these are researched. So these are the gun choices I can make. I'm also going to go ahead and upgrade the suspension. Now, the next thing that you can do, which will help you get some of your credits back, is you can sell things. Now, what I usually do, just get rid of this, is I will literally click on it. You go to here to characteristics, click on it, see if there's any other vehicle which uses that part. In this case, there isn't. So you click on it again, sell from depot, and you'll get your money back. Well, you'll get half your money back. If I were, I sold it for 130, I can buy it back for 260. You'll only get half your money back. That's why you check to see if these are used on any other vehicles, because if they are, you keep them in your depot. That's basically where it is now. It's sitting in a pile somewhere, and you can then mount it on another vehicle without having to buy it. In this case, this one isn't used, so sell from depot. Signal flags, characteristics. Okay. In this particular, in this case it's used on another tank, but I'm not going to get any money for it. The price of the signal flags is 0. So I'm going to go ahead and sell all of them. Now, it's only got the stock turret, and I've got these two guns in my depot. That's what I was talking about. I can pull these off, pull this one off the tank, and put one of these two on because I have them. Here's an example of what I was talking about. I just bought this new engine, and this one is available to be sold. However, check it. Okay, those are the compatible vehicles, the vehicles that this go in on. So you go to the tech tree, and the first one is the Sure Emil, which is tank destroyer. Now, it's the baseline engine, so you don't worry about that. You can click here to go back to the tech tree. The VK 30H, which is there. It's again the baseline engine. But I've got the other tank. Let's show you something else. Little magic trick first. Go ahead and go back. Now you can use the tech tree to maneuver around if you don't want to dig through the garage. It's sometimes quicker. Now, so I'm going to go ahead and sell that. And that's another few thousand credits in my pocket. Sometimes when you're getting an important buy, every credit counts. This is a website called Tank Compare. It's a very good website. There's going to be a link in the description. What this allows you to do is select any tank and compare it to any other tank. Now when I say compare that to any other tank, you'll notice that there's all of these drop-down menus, which means if I want to, I can compare the stock tank to the fully upgraded tank, and I can adjust what that fully upgraded tank is. So let's compare these three tanks. What I should say is compare the three guns on the tanks. Now, that one's the 37mm. Let's go with the top values. This one is the SA-38, and there's the 25. Those are the three tank guns that you saw on the last tank. And you can change any of these to choose any series or configuration that you want for your tank. Now, and it compares the data between each tank. The price doesn't change, it's the same tank. The hit points don't change because you didn't change the turret. Signal range increased with the best radio. Speed limit won't change for the same tanks. Armor won't change. You rarely change the hull, and the turrets will often have better armor. But you get better engine power, which means you get a better horsepower to weight ratio. You get a better traverse speed, that's the tracks. Climb angle stays roughly the same between all of the tanks. This is what's called a hidden stat. It's called the terrain resistance, which is basically how much speed do you lose going over these types of terrain. This is very high for soft terrain, and hard terrain like a road isn't going to cut you down much. Fire chance is basically, you can, if you see a little question mark, you can put your cursor over it and it'll show up. It just won't stay. Click on it. Fire chance is basically how likely is the engine to burst into flame. Now in this case, even the stock engine is 20%, as well as the high tier. View range is how far you can see. That's usually changed by changing the turret. Turret traverse likely. Turret traverse arc, which is how far does the gun traverse. Now, here's where we get into the questions you have to ask about your play style. The standard 37mm will do 30 points of damage, 36 for HP. The upgraded 37mm will do 40 and 45 for HP. The 25mm will do 27. Now, you'll see this APCR. That is armor-piercing composite rigid. That is what is often called gold ammo. It is tremendously expensive. Here's a good example. Your AP ammo is, for this gun, is free. You will never have to worry about paying for it. HE is 6 points. The APCR is 2 gold. And typically you can buy that for 400 credits, which means that a shell from that is going to cost you 800 credits. APCR is used more in higher tier games where you've got a higher profit, or is used very sparingly. At tier 1 and tier 2, I wouldn't even bother. Just as you're starting out, you haven't got the credits to burn. Now, here's the main difference. This is the penetration. The AP for the beginning 37 will go through 29mm of armor. The mid-grade 37mm will go through 34mm of armor. And the 25 millimeter gun will go through 46 millimeters of armor. So what you basically got here is, would you rather do the damage or would you rather have the penetration? And that's a question that you have to answer yourself. But this program, this website, will allow you to make those kind of decisions. And this is what they all talk about. When they talk about DPM, that means damage per minute. In this case, the base 37 millimeter will do 720 DPM. The mid-grade will do 900, and the top will do 925. Well, wait a second. This only does 27, that does 40. How will that do so much more damage? Well, that's where you get into the rate of fire. The low-grade 37 is actually faster firing slightly than the mid-grade 37, and it's much slower than the 25. So the 25 has a very high rate of fire, has better penetration, but you're not going to be doing a lot of damage, which means you're going to have to hit somebody multiple times before you stop them. Aim time is also something that's important. That's basically how long it takes the circle when you first look at a target to shrink down. This has a very fast aim time, 1.5 seconds, which is actually faster than the reload time, which means that you are going to, if you are looking at a target, you're going to be locked onto them before the gun reloads. That's not true with either of these two guns. Well, no, actually it is true with both of those guns. You're going to be locked on. Later, you're going to get into the situation where your aim time is longer than your reload time, and if you keep firing, you are not going to be able to keep the gun as accurate as it could be. And there's your ammo capacity. Camouflage value is something that you need to learn about. Camouflage value basically is, well, camo value is the percentage of enemy vision each tank negates without camo skill being trained up at all, which means if your tank has view range 300 meters, what that means is this tank, when it's stationary, if it's looking for another tank with the same view range, they aren't going to see each other at 300 meters. It's going to see each other with a decrease of 14%, which is 42 meters. So it's going to be able to see the other tank at about 258. And if you're moving, then it goes to 12, which means if you're moving against a vehicle that's got that range, let's say you're advancing on somebody who's stationary, they're going to see you at 258 meters, and they are going to see you, since you're moving, at 264, because you've got 12%. Now if you fire, that goes down a lot, which is why you should be behind a bush when you fire, because your camo value drops down. In this case, this is some other things that are a little more advanced. I will get into them a little later. Accuracy basically is how many shots fired. Now this is not broken up by configuration. This is based on the tank as a whole. There's the amount of credits that you get on average, the win rate, damage dealt, etc. Now why that's important, show you a light tank. This one, on average, you lose 23,000 credits. However, you win 63% of the games. So, all of this information and more stats are available at vbaddict.net, and I'll have a link in the description of the video for that. Alright? Okay. Like I mentioned, now this FCM 36 uses the same guns as the Renault or the Hotchkiss 35, the H35. Now if you want to see how things progress up the tech tree, you go up here to tech tree. Each nation has their own tech tree. Now that's the one we were just looking at. That's what we were comparing in the tank compare. If a tank has this kind of marking, then it indicates that you've got enough experience to go ahead and research it. This shows that you don't have enough experience either in the previous tank with your free XP to research it. Now, since I've researched this one, let's display it in the garage. And there it is. Now in this particular case, it's still got the stock gun, which isn't very good. So, if I want to change it, I can just click on that. Now I've got the guns in my depot. That's what this little indicator says. Well, this one's mounted on a tank, but I've got this gun in the depot, so I can just click on that. Now, if you want to put, you'll notice that these both say 0. That's the ammunition counters. Now, I want ammunition, so I click on service, and it comes up. You should probably always click on repair automatically and resupply automatically. Now, this is what I was talking about the AP composite rigid. It's 2 gold or 800 credits. Always switch this over to credits when you get in here, because even though I have a lot of gold, I don't want to spend it on ammunition when I can use credits instead. And in this case, I am not going to have any of that ammunition, but I could change the loadout if I wanted to. You grab these little sliders and move them over. And, you know, I could spend 120,000 credits. I would be able to penetrate up to 85 millimeters of armor with this and do 20 to 34 points of damage. No, don't do that. Now you'll also notice I've got here ammo in the depot. When you buy ammunition and you don't use it, it goes into your depot. I'll show you that a little later. But I'm going to put it up to 150, and then you click accept. Resupply consumables, yes. And my total amount of credits go down. And this is ready to take into battle. No, it isn't. See, the battle button is grayed out. It doesn't have a crew. Now, there's something that a lot of people run into that they don't seem to understand. It isn't just the tank that is the weapons system. It's also the crew. Let me give you an example. This is my T1 heavy tank. This crewman is one of my most experienced. He's got 100% training, and he also has one of these skills that is at 97%. This crewman, if he goes up against you with a 50% crew, is going to kick your butt. It's as simple as that. Why is that? Another magic trick. This is the World of Tanks wiki. World of Tanks, World of Warplanes, World of Warships. It's divided into types of tanks, by nation, by class, and you also get premium tanks. It also has a lot of information on the modules. This is a very good source of information. If you want to learn something that I haven't covered, or if you want to look into it in more depth, come here. I will include a link in the description, and you can find out a lot of more information. Now, what I was talking about, let's go with the heavy tanks. Go with the T1. Now, this is some discussion about, the tank You can look at the various modules that are available. Compatible equipment. I will get into this. Most of these pieces of equipment are in the 100,000 credits or more level. In Tier 1 and Tier 2, you're probably not going to be able to get into this. Compatible equipment, most of these are in the thousands of credits. I'm probably going to hold off on those until a later video. They've got pros and cons of the tank, and they've got suggested equipment if you get serious enough to really want to enhance your tank. But the first enhancement that you need to get into, now, values stock, values top, same as the tank compare. Although you can't customize it quite the same way. Let's go to the top values. Now, the reason I was talking about the crew, okay, your top gun, which is this 76mm, has a rate of fire, nominal rate of fire, of 16.67 rounds per minute. Well, you put your mouse over that little arrow and you start getting things. So the nominal reload time is 3.6 seconds. With a 50% crew, it is 4.46 seconds. With 100% crew, it's 3.45 seconds. Then you get into equipment like gun rammers, vents, both, etc., and that gets the time down even further. But what I was trying to point out is this literally means that if you have a 50% crew and I've got a 100% crew, I will get a shot off a second faster than you will. Which, if both of us are low health and can only take one more hit, that means you're going to be dead before I am. Now that applies to everything here. For example, the damage per minute, it's nominally a little over 3,000. With a 50% crew, it's a little under 2,500. With a 100% crew, it's a little over 3,200. That's a big difference. Aim time, which is also important. Your aim time is going to be almost 2.9 seconds. My aim time with 100% crew is going to be just a little over 2.2 seconds, which means that reticle is going to close down for me a lot faster than it will for you. So, you're sitting there with a 4.5 second aim time, 4.5 second reload time, 2.8 second, or almost 2.9 second aim time. That means I'll not only be able to get the shot off quicker, but I'll be fully aimed before you. If we pop around a corner at each other, I'll be fully aimed before you. So if I've got a tank round in the gun, I will be more accurate than you will, quicker. That's why you should not neglect your crews. View range is also important. With a 50% crew, you've got a view range of 259. Now remember, what I talked about camouflage, you're losing a certain percentage of that view range. With a 100% crew, I've got the nominal view range. Same with the signal range, which is your radio. If you've got a 50% crew, your signal range is less. Okay, we're back, and as you can see, I bought a crew for this tank. Let's go take a look at the tech tree, and let's go step through the process here for the R35. Okay, yes, I want to research it, and yes, I want to buy it. Now, in this case, I am going to go ahead and buy the crew. I'm going to go ahead and pay the Tank Academy price of the 400 gold and purchase it with a new crew. Now, normally what you should do is, a better example would be the FCM 360, which is in a line, is you take your crew out of the previous tank and you move it into the new tank. And that way, the crew keeps advancing through your tanks as you advance down the line. Now, let me show you. Now, this crew is 100%. You see this little star? You can pick skills and perks. Some of them are common, anybody can pick them, and some of them are specific for their position in the tank. Now, probably what you want to deal with, at least initially, is start with the common skills. Repairs, camouflage, firefighting. In this case, I'm going to go with camouflage on the driver. Select. Little token there, and you'll see the little camouflage there. And camouflage for the commander. Now, there's a difference between skills, and if you mouse over it, you'll see the skill comes into effect after training starts. Effect increases with skill level. Those are skills. Repairs, firefighting, camouflage. Brothers in Arms is a perk, and it specifically says that it's a perk. It only comes into effect after you've reached 100%. Why do you do that? You know, why should you move the tank along? Well, because if you don't, this is one of my better crews, but we've got 75% repairs, 75% repairs, 75% repairs, 57, 47 in firefighting, and 75% repairs. That isn't cumulative. It's the average, which means it's 75 for repairs, 0 for repairs, 57 for repairs, 75, 75. And this guy with his firefighting of 74, that's going to be divided among all of the crew members. So the firefighting on this tank is actually closer to 12%. Now, if I had 100% for repairs and 100% for firefighting on all of the crew members, then the whole tank averages out to 100%, which gives you the biggest advantage. Now, when you're transferring crew members between tanks, one of the things you're going to run into, and just take it. Now I just transferred the crew out of the medium Lee into this heavy, and because he's got unsuitable specialization, he's going to be at minus 25. Now, if I just retrain him for this tank, he'll be at 80 instead of 100, which is better than 75. If I pay credits, he goes up to 90. But if I pay the Tank Academy price, it's 200. But he'll be at 100%, and he will now be trained. I mean, I took a medium crewman and trained him into a heavy tank. Now that will get important later. The other important thing is, if he isn't at 100%, a lot of his skills won't work, which means that even though he's got 75% repairs, he won't be able to use them very effectively because he's in the wrong tank. So, advance your crews along with your tanks. The crews are as important a weapon system to your tank as your guns, your engine, your radio, the rest of it. Advance them along the line. So, as I said, your crews are as important to your tanks and your chances of winning as if your tank is stock or has been upgraded. Now, one of the things that you're going to hear termed is something called seal clubbing. What that basically is you take a crew out of a much more advanced tank, they maybe have 3 skills, and you stick them down here in a premium tank of the same kind. And then it used to be they could easily get into, you know, tier 1 through the lower tier battles, and you have a crew with 100% on everything. You know, they're just going to obliterate you. That's so. Hopefully I've explained. Now, explained the uses of gold, which is one of them is retraining your crew, and credits, and free experience. Now, let's just go through the process. I researched this, purchased it. Go ahead and complete the research projects. Whoop, I bought that. See? Okay. And I'm all elated now. Now this is, yeah, purchase and mount. Okay, so now this vehicle is completely elited. So, go back to the garage. Now, on a fully elited tank, as I mentioned earlier, half the experience goes to the tank, half the experience goes to the crew. You've got this called accelerated crew training. Go ahead and click on that. What that basically means is the experience which would normally go to researching the tank now goes to training the crew. You know, the least experienced crew member is trained twice as fast. So, there we go. We've got fully-elited tanks. This is a 25. Same as the other. I've got no ammunition left in the depot, so I'm just going to click repair automatically, resupply automatically. Now you probably, if you're near getting an upgraded gun that uses a completely different type of ammunition, I wouldn't click on that, or I'd unclick it, but at the beginning, when you're not sure whether you like a gun or not, go ahead and do that. That way you'll always have plenty of ammunition. Now, I've hoped what I've shown you has been both educational and enjoyable, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye.